Hi everybody! Today we're going to talk about Git basics really quickly. With the help of this sun that is killing me. Um, for those who don't know, Git is a distributed version control system. It is the underlying technology that you can keep track of any changes that you or your teammates make on a project or a code or something else. I know people who use this Git and GitHub to manage their quantum physics projects. Okay, but mostly it's used by the programmers. Think of Git as a time machine. Any changes you make on your project, like creating a file or deleting a file or modifying a line in your project or adding new lines or adding new features, anything, any changes you make to your code are tracked by Git, and you can save checkpoints with the help of Git to have a history of what you did until now or what changes your the collaborators of the project made, so you can restore back to any version you want from the future, of course, like a time machine. Let's say, for example, you made some changes and you don't want those changes now, and you can just get back to the checkpoint you made before and continue your project from there. Okay. Another note that I have mentioned is that Git and GitHub are not the same. Git is the underlying technology that you can use to keep track of your projects, manage your projects and repositories. But GitHub is an online hosting service for Git repositories and Git projects. So you can push and upload your projects on GitHub and make your projects public or make your projects private, so you and the community, which can be your choice, your teammates or the whole GitHub community, can work on the same project together and make improvements. To start with Git, first you need to install it. On most macOS systems, it is installed by default, but on Windows and Linux, you have to install it manually. Okay, and if you want to check if it is installed on your system or not, you can simply open any terminal like command prompt in Windows or terminal in macOS or in Linux and just type git -- version. And as you can see, Git version 2.42 is installed on my system. But if it is not installed on your system, you can just go to this link, git-scm.com downloads, which is the official link to install to download Git, and select your operating system like Windows, Linux, or macOS, for example Windows, and simply download it from these links here, or using winget to install it from your command prompt in Windows, or using these commands for Linux, Ubuntu base, Fedora base, or any other distribution. And for macOS, you can use Homebrew or MacPorts or Xcode or binary installer and other approaches. So after installing Git, you will have two new things here, I guess, Git Bash and Git GUI. Okay, let's open both of them. As you can see, Git GUI is really simple without any complexity, and it's good for the beginners, but it's not really that much good. but the git bash is a Unix-like terminal that you can use to run your git commands. Okay, so after installing it, the first thing you need to do is doing some config. Okay, and that is setting your name and email globally on your system. So whenever you contribute or commit on a project, it will be committed with your name and your email address. Okay, so the first command you need to run is git config -- global user.name to set your name, and my name is Amir Hossein Olizadeh, and I want the contributions to be committed with this name. Okay, now I have to run the other config command, and that is git config -- global and user.email, and I will enter my email. So from now on, any contribution I do will be committed with this name and this email. Okay, and there's another config command that you may want to use, because these days most of default branches are called main. So by default, Git uses master as your default branch, but you may want to change it to main global git config -- global init dot default branch main, and my default branch from now on will be main. Okay, so let's go to the next step, and that is the most used commands. Okay, the most used commands in Git, there's a lot of commands that you can use in Git. Okay, but the most used and frequently used commands are git init, git status, git add, git commit, git log, git push, git clone, git branch, git checkout, and git pull. So let's see what each of these commands do. The first command, git init, it initializes a new repository in your project folder. Okay, if you want to create another folder for your project, you can add the repository name here. For example, I don't know, something. But I want to create and initialize my Git repository just in this folder, which is tutorials. Okay, so I just use git init, and now my empty Git repository is initialized. And as you can see, there is a U next to these files names, and I will talk about what those are. The next command we can use is git status. So by using git status, you can see the state of your working directory and staging area. What that means is that it says on branch main, we are working on the main branch, okay? And there's no commits yet. And there are untracked files. So what is tracking? As I said before, Git is a distributed version control system, okay? And you can keep track of any files you want, to save checkpoints for them, so you can restore to those checkpoints, or push them on a remote service like GitHub to work with other people on the same project. So you have to add any file you want to be tracked, so they're not tracked by default. Okay, and I have two files in my project repository, in my project folder, and those two files are git basics tutorial.ipynb and listsbasic.ipynb, and these are not added to be tracked by Git until now. And we can use git add to keep track of them. I can use git add, the file name, for example, lists basic.ipynb. Of course, I have to put it in quotation mark because of this space here. And I can keep track of just this file and not git basics tutorial.ipynb, but I want to keep track both of them. I mean all the files in my repository. So I can use --all, or I can use just git add dot, and that will add my files, those git basics tutorial and lists basic to the staging area. So it will keep track of any changes, it will check for any changes anytime I make to my files. And if I use git status now, you can see that it does not say untracked files anymore. It says changes to be committed, and these files are now green, and it says new file, git basics and list basic. Okay, and now it says that it's now keeping track of these files. Okay, it's checking these files for any changes. And if I now make any change on my code here, for example, let's say how are you, okay, and now if I save it, you see that here it is an M here, okay, which means modified. And if I use git status now, it says changes not staged for commit. It means that I modified this file, but I did not commit it yet. So what is committing? Committing is like saving a checkpoint in a game. Okay, you had a progress, you made some changes, and now you want to save a checkpoint of that step, so you can keep track of the history and you can restore anytime you want to this step. So we can use git commit -m, which stands for message, and we can type our message here. You should have type a message for your commit, so you can explain what happened, what did changed, and why you are saving this checkpoint. Okay, so for example, I want to say that added greeting. Okay, and I hit enter. Now you can see that my oh, I forgot to add this file, so I have to add it. After changing, I have to add it to the staged area, so I have to use git add, let's say all, and now use git commit again, and now this one is committed now. So if I use git status now, git status, you can see that on branch main, nothing to commit, working tree clean. So there's no changes and there's no need to commit anything. Okay. The next command we can use is git log. And what git log is, it shows you the log of any commits you made, you or your teammates or any people on the internet that committed on this project. It shows the history of those commits and the messages you type when you are committing. My message was added greeting and added greeting, and I committed 2 times because the first time I forgot to add the Git basics tutorial to the staged area, so I committed 2 times, and for each commit we have a hash. Okay, there's a hash to identify that commit, and we can see the author Amir Hossein Gholizadeh and this email here because we can config our Git the first time we installed it, and we told Git that the author, the owner of this machine is Amir Hossein Gholizadeh with this email. So whenever I commit on any project, it's me. You do that commit with this name and this email. Okay. Let's hit Q to quit from this. Now we made changes to our project. We did everything, and we want to save this project, save these files on an online hosting service like GitHub, so other people can come and contribute on our project, or just we can save it there to have a backup, or we have other machines to, for example, we have a laptop and we have a computer. We want to continue our project on the laptop because we're going to, for example, a vacation, or we're going out, and we have to continue our project out there. So first thing we should do is that we should go to GitHub or any other service you want and create a new repository, create a new online repository using that new button there, and selecting a name for our repository. Let's say Python tutorial, for example, and we can set it as public, so anyone on the internet can see our project, our repository, and they can commit if they want. And or we can set it as private, so just we as the owner can see it, and the people we invite them on our project. Okay, let's escape these options for now and create our repository. After creating a repository, we will have an address for our repository. Okay, and this one is just this, the address of our repository with a .git at the end of it. Okay, and we can copy this code, or simply copying the whole codes here and pasting them in our terminal. Yes, paste. So as you can see now, Git says it pushed our project to and connected our project to the remote repository on GitHub. So if I refresh my repository here, I can see all my files and the history of my commits there. You see there's my files here and commit messages here, and if I click on that, I can see commit details, the commit message, and the branch name, which is main, and what changed. I can see what changed here. Print hello skill seekers changed to print hello skill seekers, how are you? Okay, and we can simply manage our project here. We can add a readme file here to describe what this project is, how we can run it, and so on. And anybody on the internet, because my repository is public, anybody can come here and click on this green button that says code and use any of these methods like HTTPS. Okay, I choose HTTPS and copy this link and go to their system. For example, let's say we want to create another project here, another project folder here. Let's go back and oh my god, another system. Okay, another system. This is totally another system, not my system. And someone wants to clone my repository so they can have it on their local machine. And if they want to do any commits, if they want to change anything, they can do it on their local machine and then commit it or send a pull request to me. So let's open a CMD here. Now I can just say git clone because I want to clone this repository to my local machine. Git clone and paste that link that we copied from here and hit enter. And now it's cloning the repository, and if I open my folder here in another system, I can see the Python tutorial repository folder, and there is two files which are these files here. Okay, so we talked about git clone now, and git push. Git push is here, as you can see. But because we were trying to connect our online repository with our local repository here using the GitHub provided commands, it says git push -u origin main, which means push this project on the main branch. Okay, but we can just from now on we can just use git push to push any changes here. For example, let's see another example. How are you? Have a good time. I changed my code to this one and I save it and I add it to the stage area, git add, and by using git commit -m wished good times, I commit my changes and now I use git push, so it is now uploaded to my GitHub repository. So if I open it, refresh it, I can see that, you see, now there is a commit now, and the commit message was wished good times. And if I open my file, my project file, it shows me, if GitHub can, it shows me print hello skill seekers, how are you, have a good time. Okay, so the next command, I have to talk about branches a little. Think of the project as a tree, okay, and this tree has a body and branches. The main body is the main branch of this tree, and the main code of our project is on the main branch. So if we want to add any features to our program, or if we want to fix any bug, we can create another branch and make our changes in that branch without changing anything in the main branch. We can make our changes there, and if it worked and it is good, we can send a pull request to the owner of the project, or we can just merge merge these two branches. I mean the main branch and the other branch with together, and the changes we made on that branch are now live on the main branch. So the new feature is added to our program, or the bug fixed is now fixed on our program. Okay, so by using git branch, oh, there's typo here, git branch, what's wrong with me, git branch. So we can see that we are now on the main branch. Let's say we want to add something to our project, but we are not sure about that. So we can create another branch. For example, let's say branch, git branch, let's call it ask question feature. Okay, and now our new branch is called ask question feature. If I use git branch now to list my available branches, I can see there is a ask question feature branch, and there is a main branch. Okay, and the main branch is the active branch now, so it is in green, and there's an asterisk on the left side of it. If I and now I can switch to the other branch by using git checkout ask question feature. Okay, now I am switched to this branch. Let's see. Oh, git branch, and now I am on the ask question feature branch, and I can change anything I want. For example, print, we want to get an input, so I call it just inp input, and enter your name, for example. Okay, and now I save it. Now I use git commit -m added input. Oh, I didn't add it to the staged area. Git add all. Now it is added to the staged area, and now I can use git commit, so it is committed. Let's change back to our main branch now. So we can use git checkout main, and now as you can see, the input is disappeared because the changes we made are on the ask question feature branch. Okay, and they are not on the main branch. So if I want to add those changes to the main branch, I can use a merge command, or I can send a pull request to the owner of the branch. If they accept it, so it will be added to the main branch of the project. Okay, and the last command I want to talk about is git pull, and it is good for times that you have changed your code in another machine and now you want to continue it on this machine. So you use git pull to pull all the changes you made on your local machine, this machine I mean, or your colleagues made any changes to the code, so you want to pull them and check what changes have been made and continue from there. Okay, so you can use git pull for those situations. And now let's talk about that merge I told you. To merge my main branch with the branch I made before, I can use just git branch and the name of that branch, git merge the name of that branch, which is ask question feature. Okay, so now they are merged and I am now on the main branch. Git branch, you can see I'm on the main branch, but the changes are live here, and I can use git push, git push to push these changes to the remote repository. So you can see that my code here has changed. If it loads, yes, the input is now added to my project. And that's all. That's all about basics of Git, but there are a lot of more commands and more things you can do with Git. So if you want to know about those, you can do more research and search, of course, to know about all the features that Git provides. I wish this video was helpful for you, and if you like my video, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, that like button, and that bell button, so you will get notified whenever there is a new video on my channel. Have a good day.